Hi, this is Dana. Welcome to the live stream for Saturday, June the 15th, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or a minute or two late, as it were. Anyway, today's topic is going to be living or dealing with chronic illness or illnesses, as the case may be, and fortunately or unfortunately, in our household, uh, it's illnesses rather than just one illness. There are many types of chronic illnesses, and they can run the gamut from anything from diabetes to asthma. I have Parkinson's disease, and I also have chronic pain disorder. So, my daughter, she has had a total colectomy and lives with ileostomy. She has chronic pain disorder. She has asthma and other things I really can't remember probably right now. But today I wanted to deal primarily with learning to deal with chronic disease and things that you can do or should not do in order to deal with it. And I'm looking up my notes, so if you'll excuse me. There's also another type of illness, and it's acute. And if I'm able to get to it today, I'll talk to you about acute illnesses. With acute illness, the two of the main things is to rest and to heal. And to know that it's time limited, and how you respond to it can hinder you or it can help you get better. Chronic illnesses is defined as conditions lasting for 3 months or more. And I've already mentioned some that I personally deal with and that my daughter deals with. And they develop over a period of time, months, even years, and require ongoing medical treatment. They cannot be cured, but they can be managed. And it is especially upsetting and confusing to learn you have a chronic illness or condition. It is natural if you feel overwhelmed, and sometimes the cause of a chronic condition can be identified, but often it cannot be, and nothing can explain why it happened. I know it's been really important for my neurologist at the VA to try to determine why I was diagnosed with Parkinson's and got Parkinson's disease. And it's not so much for me important as it is to manage it. But I can see his viewpoint. Chronic illnesses have affect physical abilities, independence, and even appearance. And sometimes, especially like with my case in Parkinson's, you'll realize that my live stream is shaky or my videos are shaky. And that is due to the neurological deficit that I have due to having Parkinson's disease. Your hands shake, which a coping mechanism I've learned is to kind of hide my hands or sit on my hands so people won't see them shaking. And I know, especially when I was still trying to work, I did that a lot because I was embarrassed. So that's just become even a coping mechanism I have into this day. And one of the first things that happens with chronic disease is you have self pity and resentment as to why it even happened. You become frustrated and angry, and I know that's especially true in my case, dealing with the chronic pain from the Parkinson's, and also, in addition to that, having chronic pain disorder. You're anxious and also fearful about what activities will increase your pain and discomfort, and you can become sad and depressed. And dealing with depression is one of the key things in my case, and I do see on a routine basis a psychiatrist and am prescribed prescription medications that very much help me to be able to deal with and cope with the depression that also in and of itself is a chronic disease disorder. You can learn to adjust your expectations and activities. And one thing you can do is not do activities that increase the pain or seem to be a direct cause of the pain. Although I've been to a chronic pain disorder class that the VA offered, and it was excellent. And if your physician at the VA recommends it, I can recommend you agreeing to do it because it is well worth your time. And one thing that they encouraged us to do is to do some sort of physical activity, even as little as one day a week. And for me, it was going for a walk, and I would use my rollator to, which I have to use to help walk any distance. And my husband would take my bulldog, who was alive at the time, and he'd get to go for a walk too. So it was a 2-for-1 deal, and it benefited me and my dog, I'm sure, because while I was doing it, I wasn't as conscious of any pain um, that I had while I was doing the activity. And I think that was the ultimate point of what they tried to get across in that class. Um, and I see where Mary said she had never had the depression with her chronic disease disorders, and that speaks to you can have the same illness and each person have different symptoms. And she says stuff like doing YouTube helps her, and I 100% agree with that. I'll so look forward to planning my videos, figuring out what I'm going to do. I like doing the live streams and coming up with a topic and looking toward making an outline. And so it has been a tremendous source of comfort and coping mechanism to me. And as far as I'm concerned, it's a positive one. Mary also says she hates the victim type behavior, and that is so very true. And that can be either in an acute or sudden onset illness or a chronic illness, like her and I both deal with, is that, oh, the oh, poor, pitiful me syndrome. And I do that, but I try not to. And one thing that the research that I've done says, the more you learn about your condition, the more normal and competent you will feel. And they suggest researching the internet, which you have to be careful and see where the information you get off the internet actually came from, because it may recommend things that benefit the person that was doing the research. And it also says libraries, social networks, support groups, and national organizations, and of course, to ask your medical provider. And one of the things it says is to become actively involved in your treatment. And in most every chronic illness, it is to maintain a healthy diet. And even though good nutrition isn't a cure-all, it contributes to better health. And Maria said she hates the victim type behavior, and she blames no one, and she doesn't want attention. And I totally 100% agree with that, because I do not want the attention myself, and that's one of the reasons I learned to hide my hands once I found they shook beyond my control. And I'm sure that she has other coping mechanisms that she's learned too. And another thing that's recommended is to keep the faith. And it says staying in conscious contact with your spirituality and continuing to expand your practices can have a healthy and helpful impact on chronic illnesses and conditions. And that is so true, and it doesn't specifically have to be any sort of one major denomination or religious sect, but it can just be belief in a power other than yourself that can help you. Because people who do that tend to have less stress and fewer physical symptoms. And another thing is to find gratitude. And gratitude is a spiritual practice you can practice even if you have a chronic illness or condition. You can do it as often as you want to, and it can help you cope effectively with your changes. Mary says the most important thing that she can think of is having someone to be your patient advocate that knows your illness and you can trust. And that is key. And I just really feel bad for people who don't have anyone to be their advocate that knows their illness or a person they can trust. And that kind of brings me, I want to start trying to wrap up the live stream, but I want to talk a little bit about acute illness and suggested ways that we really should look at. And the example I want to use is, what medical tests should a woman in her 40s have? And first of all is blood sugar. It is suggested that you have a fasting blood sugar at least once every 3 years. And your doctor may recommend more often depending on your risk. And the next one is a breast exam and mammogram. And there is some controversy about when to start it, but it's agreed around 40 to 45, unless your doctor recommends more often, and that could be to you having a prior history or a strong family history. Next is had blood pressure done. Next is a cholesterol profile. And next is weighing yourself, because being overweight puts you at risk for diabetes and heart disease, which is, it seems to be a simple answer. And being as I am overweight and obese myself, the answer is not so simple as it seems on paper. Another thing for a female is to have a pelvic exam and pap smear. And of course, the next thing is to look at moles. And next thing is to take care of your eyes, and they should be examined every 1 to 2 years. And the next thing, of course, is to make sure that you're up to date on your immunizations. A 40-year-old female may need a tetanus, diphtheria, pertussis, whooping cough, booster shot, or a pneumonia vaccine. And it is recommended that most all adults should get a flu shot each fall. In the next live stream I'm going to talk about acute illness, and I'm going to talk about the acute illness of a 40-year-old female, and tied into what my daughter has been going through with her diagnosis of breast cancer. And tomorrow I will be uploading a video to my book channel called Dana Loves All Books, and I'm going to be doing a TBR, or to be read list, for the next month from June the 15th till July the 15th. So please be sure to look at that tomorrow, and I'll upload it by 9 p.m. And on Monday, of course, it'll be Makeup Monday on my regular channel. And on Tuesday, I'll go live at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, talking about my daughter's breast cancer diagnosis and what, if anything, and what things we are doing to help her. Please remember to be kind to one another, and we love you. Bye.